All right. Well, aloha kahiaka, everybody. You are visiting us on a very special Aloha Friday Hawaii Real Estate Show. Today is August 1st, 2025, and this is the Tsunami special. So I decide that we're gonna kind of shake up the whole agenda for today. We are going to do some market updates. We are going to take your questions, but a large part of the show is going to be focused on the incredible event that we had just a few days ago. We had a tsunami event in Hawaii. So that was a kind of a big thing. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to warm up, but we're going to change a little warm up the way we normally do it. I've got my friends over here. We got Dylan Nonaka, who's from the Big Island. We have Ashley Wasan, who's from Oahu, and we have Heidi Dallinger, who is hailing from Maui. Great to see you guys. So I just kind of figured let's just kind of do a little bit of everything. Well, I guess, okay, let's warm up first. Let's warm up the internets. Because we need people to get a chance to get online and this thing to disperse itself. So let's do our normal. Let's kind of start with the normal regular thing. Dylan, give us the update. Give us what's the Aloha shirt today, and how's the weather in Kona? We're going to talk about the tsunami stuff after we kind of warm up. Dylan.
Everything's great, man. Like always, I got the Living Hula Ohelo Berry shirt. This is one of the Nene Goose's favorite snacks up in the upper elevations in the mountains. And weather's great today. It's kind of weird. Like when we had the tsunami thing, and we're gonna talk more about this. Like the next day, I was scheduled to fly to Maui, so I was like, worried I'm not gonna be able to go because we didn't really know what was gonna happen until later on that evening, and but of course everything was okay. Then I head to the airport in the morning, and it was like raining at the Kona airport. So I was like, is there something like weird going on here? Because that like never happens. I mean, I think they get like maybe 2 days of rain the whole year at the Kona airport. It's always super, super dry. So it was one of those eerie kind of feelings where it was like dark and rainy the next day, and after this scary event the day before and all this stuff. And so, but now everything's back to normal. So all good.
We're back to normal and all good. Yeah. Well, I mean, there is that hurricane that was floating somewhat nearby, so there could be effects. Ashley, how are you doing? What's going on? How's the weather on the windward side? We still got to come up with something for you, Ashley. Like, Heidi's got her coffee, Dylan's got his shirt. We got to, maybe the cats. I don't know, the cats or the dogs or the pets. Anyway, Ashley, give us the update. How's
I could
the weather?
Put one like, we have so many animals. I could just like prop one in the background, for a show if you guys want.
Just have the cat walk around or something. Cat's always fun.
I don't know where the cat is, if I'm honest. I didn't know the cat was in the room that day. So the earrings, you said earrings, but then I kind of phased out of that. I just stopped wanting to buy earrings almost every week. That was a phase. I don't know. I do drink silently a smoothie whenever you take the camera off of me. I'm sipping a smoothie behind the scenes.
Okay, so maybe it's like, what's the ingredients in the smoothie this morning? That might be the way to intro us in. Cool.
Okay. We have strawberry.
There you go. We have that. That's it. Just strawberry. Only strawberry.
No, it's strawberry, pineapple, half a date, chia, flax seeds, cacao nibs, apple, banana, and peanut butter with vegan protein powder.
Okay, that's better. Thank you. That's better. That's what I was expecting.
Weather is great. It's kind of overcast, which is really nice because it is not too hot right now. It's perfect. It's honestly like you're idealistic, a little bit of sprinkling of rain, sun comes out, you're just amount of hot where you go swim, but you're cool enough where you don't have to. It's just a really perfect day right now, and a little bit of a breeze to just go in your hair.
Yeah, it's the weather's been interesting, right? The past few days, like as Dylan had mentioned, it's been a little bit odd. I think the hurricane had an effect. We have huge surf on the South Shore. It was rather wind. Well, there was a high wind. They did a wind thing yesterday that activated all kinds of things. So it's been funky. But and to Dylan's point, a strange coincidence with the tsunami. Hey, before we go to Heidi, I want to, if you're if you're with us, if you join us, give us a shout out, give us let us know where you're from, say hello. Like to recognize everybody who's here. And on that note, I'm going to recognize Michael Lotta. Welcome back, buddy. Welcome back, Michael. Aloha from San Diego. Glad you all are safe and well. Thank you so much. Yes, we really appreciate that. And thanks for your kind thoughts. To Marco Capata. Hey, Marco, good to see you. Aloha, everyone. Good to see you all. Good to see you too. Glad that you are here with us. NYC is here. Aloha from NYC. Welcome. Welcome, aloha from NYC. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Give us a shout. Let us know where you're from. It's always nice to see our friends coming back with us. Heidi, what's the how are you? How's Maui? How's the coffee? What's going on today?
I'm doing great today. I'm happy to be here. I'm drinking my Hawaiian peaberry coffee. It's very good. It's nice and sunny today. It's not super clear. But it's nice and sunny. It's definitely been warm here. It is summertime on Maui, a little bit warmer this time of year, but just perfect day for jumping in the ocean.
There you go, man. The perfect day to jump in the ocean. That is, we are so incredibly lucky that we have that an unbelievable gift of the beauty of Hawaii. So thanks, everybody. Excellent.
Hey,
all right.
Fun fact about peaberry coffee, right? My mom and I were just talking about this the other day, that like when she came to Hawaii and started kind of learning about coffee farming, the farmers would all throw the peaberry away, like it was like subpar. They viewed it as subpar because it wasn't like fully formed or whatever. And then it's the power of marketing, right? Somebody smart said, hey, we should make this like an exclusive special coffee. And so now they charge you more for it. So it's just funny over time how things change and the power of branding and marketing,
that is so true. When you were mentioning that, there's another thing that a long time ago, to your point, Dylan, a long time ago, lobster was considered like garbage. They would throw it away. They would feed it. It was like used to feed to prison guards, because like I'm not prison guards, but to inmates in a prison, not prison guards. Inmates used to be, they would, because it was like the garbage. It was like it was like the low. So there you go. There's marketing. There's hope for us.
It's like bacon. It's like bacon, right? Like it's like why would you eat the pork belly? But then now it's like they decided it's going to be our staple for breakfast, that it's like highly marketed and super valuable.
It's incredible. It's incredible. Not to riff too much. Hey, we had a thing on Instagram. Some hands down seeds. Aloha from Southern California. Glad the tsunami merely waved at the islands. Yeah, hands down seeds. Thank you very much. That's from Instagram. I can't throw it on the screen, but thanks for that comment. And yes, we are very, very fortunate. And that's what we're gonna talk about today. And speaking of, so I'm riffing now. So speaking of pork bellies, my wife and I have recently discovered salmon bellies, and oh my God, salmon belly in the air fryer. Salmon belly in the air fryer. My God, that is just like, holy moly, is that good? Damn. So check that out, everybody. All right.
Have you ever had salmon collars? Salmon collars,
no.
Like the part around like right behind the gills. So they sell that, or like kampachi. They do that with the kampachi fish here. Also, like kind of like a throwaway piece of the fish, but yeah, you like broil that or air fry it crispy, and it's got a lot of oil and fat in it. It's amazing. So yeah,
I gotta try that one. I gotta try that one. I found this. It's so funny because I found this like total classic hole in the wall Korean place where is like the old man's in the back and he's smoking his cigarette in the back of the room, and he's reading his magazine, and he's got his daughters in the front, and they're cutting up all the fish and they're doing all the work, and it's like it's the best. Classic. All right, let's get on. Let's get on with the topic over here. So I obviously the tsunami is the big one, right? That's what it was, a huge event, massive stuff. A lot of stories going on. I don't want to go through any stories. We're going to skip the news. This is, there is no other news but the tsunami. But there's a lot of stuff that's related to it. I'll throw it in the conversation. There's all kinds of stories. I've got a bunch of things that are interesting. But I really wanted to, first of all, a couple of things. I wanted to make sure, first of all, if you've got any questions, you've got 4 people here that live across the state, Maui, Big Island, Oahu. If you have any questions about anything, frankly, but about the tsunami, etc., please send it in. We'd love to take that. But I do want to talk with our friends over here and get a sense for what, just, give me the experience. Let me know. I just kind of want to hear what you guys went through, and maybe something that was maybe perhaps a little bit unconventional or interesting or worth noting, etc. So why don't we go counterclockwise? Let's kind of start with Heidi first. Heidi, and then Ashley, and then Dylan. So Heidi, what was the experience on Maui? What was your experience? What was interesting? What was notable? How was it?
Well, I can say this, that the state of Hawaii did a very great job of informing everyone that there was a tsunami warning. Everybody got alerts on their phone, the tsunami alarms went off. And we were informed the first wave was going to hit Kauai around 7:10 p.m. So we started getting warnings, I want to say like around 3 o'clock, middle of the afternoon. Thankfully, I was pretty close to home. I didn't have to go too far. I know a lot of people that were trying to get from one side of the island to the other were stuck in traffic. I did make the mistake of trying to go to the gas station at about 4 p.m., and that was just total chaos. Everybody trying to get gas, people backed up. I called my husband. He said, just come home. We have enough gas to get to the top of the hill. So where I live, it's really close to the ocean, but we are like just outside of the tsunami evacuation zone. So we didn't really technically have to evacuate, but we did get in the car, drive to the top of the hill, sit by the side of the highway with a whole bunch of other people. People had lawn chairs, blankets, we're just hanging out, and we watched the sunset. And we wanted to see the ocean because we wanted to see if a big wave was going to come in or something. Nothing happened. And we were listening to the radio, basically hearing, nothing big was happening. And then finally it was around 8 o'clock at night, and we decided it was more dangerous sitting by the side of the highway in the dark than just going home. So we just went home. So it was pretty anticlimactic, but super grateful. That's what you want, right? I'm glad we're not sitting here talking about devastation and destruction today. So that's why I said I'm happy to be here.
Amen. Amen to that. Amen to that. How was the, it's kind of funny. We had, it was, we went up, we parked up, etc. But it was interesting. There were people like tailgating. It became like this, like social, it became like a classic Hawaii thing, right? Came this like social event. I don't know if you had any of that where you guys were parked, Heidi, any of that? Because there were people tailgating, there were people walking around, everybody's saying hi, everybody's cool, talking story. How was that on your side when you went,
Yeah, definitely. People had blankets laid out, kids were running around, lawn chairs, your little cooler of your favorite beverages. And we're just sitting on the hill watching the ocean, waiting for something to happen with the radio on. And it was actually pretty chill.
Yeah, it was really, and ended up being a sunset watch on top of it, which is kind of so fun. Yeah. Excellent. Thanks. That's a great. And, you mentioned a couple things, and you're right. There was a lot of there's a lot of stuff that they were radically improved. Unfortunately, due to Maui's tragedy, I think it's significantly improved about the whole response time. Everybody was warned. There's all kinds of systems, and I think one thing that they learned as of this time is they need to do a better job on gridlock, and that's going to be interesting, kind of how they work. Because I don't know if you saw the videos. There were like these crazy videos of like, I'm gonna see if I could grab a video, insane traffic coming across on Oahu. Yeah. So anyway,
I'm hoping that this whole thing was kind of brought attention to, there are areas where traffic gets congested, I'm sure on Oahu, but also Maui as well, and just to work on creating some other routes to get out. I was super lucky because both my husband and I were really close to home. We didn't have to go far, but I know people that were stuck in traffic for a couple hours just trying to get home. And if you're getting from, West Maui over to Central Maui, or trying to get up country, the main road is right along the ocean. So, I mean, how scary is that, just being stuck in traffic right there? So,
Oh man, that would be terrifying. That would
yeah,
be
yeah.
absolutely terrifying. Could you imagine you're if it was like if it was a bad thing, you're stuck in traffic, and it's not unlike the Maui the Lahaina experience, right? You're stuck in traffic, but at least they jumped off their cars and into the water, which is terrifying. But could you imagine you're stuck in your car and in comes a tidal wave and
Well,
whew,
then you'd be getting out of your car and running up the mountain.
exactly. You're getting, yeah, the exact total opposite thing. So, interesting. So, hey, quick, thanks, Chiro Ochoa. I hope I got that right. I'm sure I beat that one up. I don't know if it's Ciro or anyway. Hey, brothers, Aloha Friday to you, and thanks for joining us. And good to have you with us. NYC says, thanks goodness there's a monorail system in Oahu to facilitate the evacuations. That is a really good joke. Thank you. That is excellent. Thank you. Yes. Thank goodness the rail has saved us, and the rail is elevated. So it's impervious to it's not affected in any way by the thing. And so yeah, okay, Sarah, enjoying the laugh. Good. Hope I didn't kind of chop that one up too bad. Ashley, how is your guys? You guys live near the water, if I'm not mistaken, right? You live near the beach. How is your evacuation adventure?
Yeah, we I live on a canal that goes out to the ocean in Kailua, about a 10-15 minute walk to the beach. I'm oddly not one to really take advice from on preparedness or evacuation. I'm ultra cash on the other side. Like, I was making tacos and I was timing it out where I was like, I just got back from a trip. I pick up my daughter from gymnastics. I saw the tsunami and the earthquake in Russia on social media. And then there wasn't any alerts yet. And I was like, oh, we'll probably get an alert. And then I picked up my daughter from gymnastics in the next town over in Kaneohe. And then the sirens went off and I was in the parking lot and I went to the Ace next door and I was like, maybe I should get some sandbags. Last time the river got kind of elevated. And then you can't get sand on the beach. And I have a nice car. I couldn't fit them in the car with sand. I was like, oh, I'll get these little 2-inchers that just like rise when they get wet and call it a day. I stopped at the grocery store. All of them were shut down. Whole Foods down. All of my hippie stores were shut down. So I went to the Safeway that was still like on. People were like grabbing water bottles and paper towels in total panic mode. And I was like getting taco ingredients and cilantro. And we just went home and I was like, oh, I just won't unpack these bags because then I can take the chips and salsa up the hill with me if I get really hungry, if it came. And then I just made and when I make tacos, because we're vegetarian and my daughter's vegan, we boil the beans in an Instapot. So like we do it from scratch and then I hand mash the beans with garlic and onion. So like I'm Instapotting these beans to like mash them and like timing it out. I was like, well, if the first wave hits at 7, usually the first wave is the smallest. Then the second wave gets bigger during the pullout. So I'll just look out for that. And that way I don't have to open up these things to do the moisture absorption. So that way, like it's $200 of those things. I'll just wait and last minute if the water looks like, then I'll do that and I'll drive up the hill later. And then we're like, oh, well, we should bake cookies too, because that would be really nice to have warm cookies after. And then I'm like not the person to take advice from at all. I was like mashing the beans by 7 o'clock and we were like eating by the time the first wave was supposed to hit. But I'm still diligent enough where like I'm thinking, well, I'm going to just see what happens to Japan because that's on the way here. And then nothing really happened to Japan. So then if there was a wall coming, sure, like obviously I would go up the hill and I would take higher precaution. But I'm thinking, grabbed my birth certificate, the major documents. I made sure I knew where my dog's harnesses was. I knew the cat could climb on the roof kind of thing. Put that. So if I did have to get in the car, we could go up out of the way. But I just watched the buoys. So there's buoys across the ocean that give you markers and points and give you at least a 15-minute heads up. And we're on Oahu, so we're like not the first island to get hit by anything. So I figured I'll watch Japan, then I'll watch Kauai because it's coming from the northeast of Russia, which means it'll hit Kauai first, which gives me an extra 10, 15 minutes. And we're on the east side, so the swell will hit the North Shore first, maybe slap around. we got time. So I just watched the buoys to see what would happen. And if something happened there, I could just drive the car up the road, and like 3 minutes up the road, we would be fine. So we did not move. We watched a movie and it was good. Knock on wood, thank God. My other half is like, I just want to see at least the canal go up or something. And I'm like, I'm a homeowner. I don't. Then it's going to erode the embankment. We don't have enough root system for that stuff. Like, we don't want any of that drama. Just knock on wood. God is good. And in our lifetime so far, we have been blessed on this island.
That is a great story. Ashley, that one. We got to clip. Dylan, tell the editors to clip that one. That's we have to clip the how to not handle a tsunami. How to not, for someone who lives near the water in big time in the inundation zone, how to not handle a tsunami. That is
I'm not your go-to. My person was like, hey, come over to the house and let's do like games and stuff like that. I was like, I have too much to do. And I have a Starlink too. So our Wi-Fi it shut off. And we were like, well, if the power goes out, one of the cars has enough gas. We can just plug the Starlink into that. And we know enough people with boats. Hopefully they'll know to come around and we'll jump on a boat or something. I don't know. I'm not your person.
Great story. Excellent story. Yeah. Hey, hands down seeds from Instagram. Thanks. Says, hey, at what elevation is considered above the tsunami risk zone? That's a great question. It's not so much at what elevation, it's more of the inundation maps. So if you hands down seeds, if you do a Google search in Hawaii inundation maps, because it's based on the terrain. It's based on the terrain. And I don't know if there's like a foot version or whatever. I think so it's inundation zones. That's the key. And if you live in the inundation zone, as Ashley does, and Heidi, you're, I guess, just outside of it, I guess, because you're, there's some elevation between you and
we're up about 30 to 40 feet above sea level. Okay. And we're basically just over it. So, but I don't know if it's a specific elevation that's determined or how it's determined, but there's maps. I mean, they're all public record online. And it's interesting because literally the day before I was sitting down with a buyer who was opening escrow on a property and telling them this property's in a tsunami evacuation zone and showing them the map. And they said, well, what do you do if there's a tsunami? And I said, well, you go to higher ground. Well, literally the next day they were being evacuated from their condo to go to higher ground.
There you go, man.
And there's signs when you're driving too. Like you have these little white placard signs on the side of the road. And I just know where that sign is by my daughter's school too. So when you live in those areas, you get familiar with it. And something to your point, Peter, about like the topography, like what's really unique about Hawaii and why the surf here is so great and why we can't just come up with a ferry system that is like fast and no brainer like other coastal areas is we don't have a continental shelf in Hawaii. Our landscape underwater is extremely just an aggressive peak. Like we're deeper than the Grand Canyon and the underground valleys of these islands. So there's not like that same continental shelf you have in the rest of a lot of coastal areas. So the waters are far more aggressive, a lot stronger. The currents are a lot stronger. The waves can get a lot bigger. And what looks like very calm water underneath the surface is just very different than other places around the world. So it's unique globally.
Excellent point. We are living on the top. We are living on mountain peaks. The islands, if you think of it like the Rocky Mountains, we're living the islands are like the peaks of these humongous. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Mauna Loa on the Big Island is the largest mountain in the world. If I'm not mistaken, it's bigger than Mount Everest. If you count it from right, Mauna Kea.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
Mauna Kea.
yeah.
Thank you. Mauna Kea is the largest mountain in the world, bigger than Mount Everest if you include the seafloor. A great little piece of geology there. Thank you for throwing that.
It's so important because in theory, that particular earthquake, the reason why that one was all over the news and so prominent was because that particular type of earthquake that Russia experienced, like paired with the type of waters, it was in theory supposed to be a much bigger tidal wave, and God just be looking out or something, because it totally phased out and was nothing.
It's unbelievable. It was unbelievable. It was incredible. I mean, it's kind of funny because we've all. I mean, I've been here long enough now to have gone through several tidal tsunamis, but like I remember the one in Japan when Japan got really hit. That was the Fukushima nuclear plant. That was like we're watching that on YouTube and like, oh my God, this thing is going to be massive. And it ended up being nothing, just a minor thing. And this one, it's kind of funny that there was all kinds of sensationalism. I was tracking on social media, and all these, experts that were like, oh, this is going to be big. It's going to be huge. This is the right time. Hawaii is the center point at blah, blah, blah. It's going to be, blah, blah, blah. And even as this, it was kind of funny because even as it was going on, and, I knew like you, Ashley, I was looking at the buoys. I was looking at, Kauai. I kind of was watching over all that stuff, and I all the signs when the buoys were like, a few feet and a few feet. I'm like, okay, this is going to be kind of a replay of the older ones. Meanwhile, social media was like, oh, okay, it's, this is going to be huge. It's going to, the waters are receding. The waters, there's a 6-foot reef. It's, and like, no, dude, so I spent a little bit of time. I spent a little bit of time trying to dispel that, but it was a waste of my time. Ciro says, don't listen to any of that run for your life. Evacuation tsunami zone is based on past events, not bet my life on past data. Yes, that's true. But if you're at the same time, I'm going to call you Ciro. Ciro, at the same time, Ciro, if you do look at the history, you also have to understand that there was a tsunami in Hilo and many people died. So that's also part of the history too. Now you don't bet your life on past data, but that's all we got. So you gotta take it seriously. You got to take it seriously. Hopefully more seriously than Ashley did. You got to take it more seriously than Ashley did.
And history repeats itself. So we do need to pay attention to history.
You want to have one of those situations where it's okay. Finally, real quick before we go to Dylan. So hands down seats. One thing that they do say, for example, is if you're in one of the hotels that's on the ocean, what they actually advocate is vertical evacuation, and they say go up above the 4th floor. So 4th floor, 10 feet per story, give or take, say 40 feet. So if you were at the ocean, you would go up 40 feet, 4 stories. And that would be, so maybe that might be a way to think of it too. So that's that. Dylan, what was your guys' experience like?
Well, I live at 1,000 feet, so zero worry at all. What's our personal reaction to it? But I think this is a good perspective of like how local people react to this, right? If you've lived here, and like the difference between kind of understanding perspective and then, or the just assumption of fear that really sometimes is not based in reality. And I definitely think so. I'm gonna comment on this from the historical perspective because I like to base stuff off of history, and being from the island with the most amount of tsunami damage in recorded history, I think there's a lot to learn from that. And the biggest thing to learn from it is, even in the worst tsunamis we've had in recorded history, it wasn't that bad, right? I mean, yes, it's terrible. There was 100 and I got the data right here. There's 100 and I believe it was like 60 something people died in 1946, and then 1960 50 something people died, or 61 people died in that tsunami. And those were situations where we didn't have all the technology we have now. I've heard stories of the 46 tsunami where the bay in the Hilo Bay receded, and like people went out into the ocean and started picking up fish because they didn't understand what was going on, right? It just wasn't, people didn't know what was happening. And so there was tons of people in the bay when the tide came back in. And that's important thing to understand and remember too, is like a tsunami is a tidal wave. It's not like a wave like you see on the North Shore in Jaws, where it's like this 100-foot, curling wave that comes in. It's just a rapid rise in the sea level. And that's the blessing about living in Hawaii, is like we were talking about just now, the islands are relatively young and they're very steep. And so you don't really have to be that far away from the shoreline to be at a significant amount of elevation. And I also think that the rapid rise in the sea level, the sea floor, also dissipates some of that force, right? Because if you have hundreds, some of these, like on the East Coast and the West Coast, you have miles of shelf where it's only 30 feet deep or 100 feet deep, where you can go literally 100 yards offshore in the Big Island and it's it's 600 feet deep, it's 1,000 feet deep. It's crazy how quickly the ocean floor drops off. And if you think about that from like the way water works, right, is like if you have a long stretch of seafloor that is shallow, that water can build up and rise, and the impact's going to be bigger when it hits shore, versus if it's really steep, it's going to dissipate that and it's going to go around, and the energy that makes it up onto the shore is going to be it's going to be dissipated. It's going to be a lot less. And so to me, even though we've had tsunami events in the past, they were so relatively minor compared to if you see stuff like the Japan tsunami, where it was, that water went inland for hundreds and hundreds of feet because it was very low lying. And there's not that many places in Hawaii that are like low lying. Really, Hilo's one of the only, and that's why Hilo got hit so bad, is it's like right at sea level for maybe like a quarter of a mile in from Hilo Bay. But around the rest of the islands, there's not that many places where it's 5 or 6 feet of elevation for a significant amount of time. So in general, I don't worry about tsunamis. Like, I mean, there's a good stat out there that if you're 4,000 feet away from the shoreline anywhere in Hawaii, you're absolutely safe. And 4,000 feet is about 3/4 of a mile. And so no matter what, like, we can all get 3/4 of a mile in 10 minutes, right? So I mean 10-15 minutes by foot, even if you're stuck and traffic's bad. And so it's a relatively good place to be for tsunamis. And I think history shows that it's not as big of a threat as I think people make it out to be, or the movies make it out to be, or sometimes social media does. So yeah, we definitely didn't worry. I mean, my office is like pretty we gotta be at like 50 or 60 feet, and we're like right at the edge of where the highway that fronts our office is the line of evacuation for tsunamis. And so I just kept working. I was like, I got stuff to do, so I just kept and then my wife called me and was like, hey, you should come home because the traffic's going to be bad. And I'm like, oh, that's a good point, because I don't want to get stuck in traffic. And of course, because I waited an hour and a half to leave, the traffic was terrible. It took me 20 more minutes to get home than it normally does. So that was the worst. That was the worst part about it was traffic. But I'm in the Ashley camp of like, we didn't take it very serious. I mean, we was like, the biggest thing was like, hey, having a place that people needed to come to hang out. You come to our house because we're at 1,000 feet. So we had a great vantage point, and we were kind of watching the sunset and looking at the ocean to see if anything happened. But yeah, no extreme freakouts over here. So
how fun. How fun. Well, okay, so I'm the opposite. I'm the anti-Ashley. I'm the opposite on the other end of the spectrum on Ashley. So I immediately think doomsday scenario. And so our houses, they redid the inundation zone a few years ago. And when they redid it, our house is literally on the line of the inundation zone. And the funny part is that our house is on the ocean side of the street. So technically speaking, my neighbor across the street is out of the inundation zone, and I'm in the inundation zone. So I guess if I put 1 foot in one side of the street and 1 foot in the other, I'd be in and out. So anyway, so therefore we got to play it safe. Therefore we need to move to the inundation zone. So we need to walk up, 100 feet to get, and those tsunami zone, safe zone signs that Ashley talks about. Yeah, they're in my neighborhood too. And so, we're walking up. So anyway, I'm playing the whole thing out, and I'm thinking doomsday scenario. I'm thinking, so what I think first, okay, we got to have a plan. We need to get the cars out of the garage because we want to have vehicles. If there's a tsunami and everything gets overrun, we want to have our vehicles. So let's get the vehicles. And it's like 4:00. So 4:00, the first notices come in, right, Ashley? So I'm thinking, okay, let's move the cars now, because if we wait until like 7, the streets are all going to be crowded with everybody else who's moving their cars up the street. Let's do it now when no one cares. So 4:00, we get our cars, we drive our cars up the street, maybe 1,000 feet, not even, say a quarter mile. we drive, and we have a nice big hill in our neighborhood. So we drive up the hill, park the cars, and then we're back. And then we're thinking, okay, wait a minute. So how are we going to do this? We have 3 cars. So we're going to park the 2 cars up front. And I'm doing all this logistical stuff, okay. And then we got to have like the car that's going to take us up there, like when the tsunami comes. So we're going to have the 3rd car, keep the 3rd car back. And I'm just going to, all these machinations like, okay, so what about food supplies? Okay. Did the whole thing. Right. And then finally it was kind of fun when the event arrived, plenty of time. We get up, we start walking up the hill, and my daughter comes back and picks us up and drives us up to where our cars are. And we just bought a Tesla. So it was totally cool. And there's like a little block party going on, and my daughter's kind of saying hi to everybody. And me, I'm sitting in the Tesla was fully charged, sitting in the Tesla. I got the AC on. And of course, the Tesla's got a big giant screen. So we're watching YouTube, and we got the YouTube live stream. It was the coolest thing. I got the AC on, YouTube live stream, well situated, watching the whole thing. And then, I saw it coming up. And when the first one was a nothing burger, I'm like, okay, this is going to be just like all the other ones. I right there. And it's like, okay, this is not gonna go. So we stayed there. We watched a few more, watched for a little while longer. And then like this first one, whatever came, and it went or didn't go or whatever, then the second one came in. By that second one that never came, we said, okay, we're going to go back home. And then, so we coasted our cars back down the street and pulled in and all that stuff. But yeah, I'm a Doomsday guy.
Midway is a great marker, right? Midway
Yes.
Island is
yes.
When nothing happened at Midway, I was like, okay, then we got nothing to worry about, because we would have seen something. There would have been some indication of how serious it was if Midway had gotten hit.
Midway is the key, right? Midway is the key, because Japan, actually Japan is like, that's good, but Japan, different waveform. It's way north. You could see a big tsunami hitting Japan, and it's still not hitting us because of the way it goes and all that kind of stuff. But Midway was the key. When
we watched all of them. Like that was just like the first one, because kind of like from there, if they got just smashed, you're like, well, if they got smashed, then we're definitely gonna get smashed. So
then
it's
you
just
got to
like,
look into it, yeah, for sure.
right.
What was scary is that was a huge earthquake, though. Like 8.6 or whatever is like massive, right? I mean,
Massive.
like, yeah.
The next largest since last Japan one, right?
I'm not sure how big the Japan one was, but I was just looking this morning, and like the largest, I think the biggest ever recorded was like 9.5. And actually, that was the one that caused the 1960 tsunami in Hilo, was a 9.5 in Chile.
Wow.
So, I mean, close to, it's getting up there.
Jeez.
And it's like the Richter scale is, each point is actually like an order of magnitude, right? So it's like it's
huge.
1 to 2 is double, and 2 to 3 is double again, and the 3 to 4 is double again. So it's like, that's crazy.
Yeah, 8 to 9 is not a 10-point increase or a 10% increase. No.
I will say I was more prepared than I normally am. Like, I did take out my manila folder of documents and put it on the kitchen island, and I did pull out the dog harnesses, and I did not unpack my groceries so I could throw them in the car. That is far more than I normally would, because the amount of natural disasters that have happened recently that have been very surprisingly catastrophic. Normally, I would not put too much energy behind something, but there had seemed to be this trend in the recent probably 3 years where the natural disasters have been more powerful than they have in the past. And I feel like there is a stronger combination. In fact, I know that's why insurances are going so high up, is because the amount of $1 billion disasters have gone up from what used to be previous years when I got into real estate, about a dozen annually, to over 36 of them annually. Like there used to be maybe 6 per year. So the amount of them have increased significantly. And I was like, we could be due. It could be our time. So I did grab important docs.
You got to take it. You got to take it seriously. How seriously is the question, but you got to take it. You have to take it seriously to some degree. Yeah. So thankfully we got lucky. It was, better safe than sorry. It was a nothing thing, which was great. On natural disasters, I got to tell you, it's like, okay, so, in the 40 years I've been here, there was only one Iniki 92, right? If I'm not mistaken. That was a big one, but that was a freak. That was a freak, right? Sadly, Lahaina, terrible tragedy with Lahaina. But aside from that, and there was this one map. I never forget this. I saw this one where someone put on a map and they put all of the hurricanes over the past 40 years. And it's absolutely remarkable because they put like dots where all the hurricanes were at. And it's like the Hawaiian island chain was completely surrounded by hurricanes, completely surrounded, 360 degrees all around the islands. But except for Iniki and Eva, those were the only ones, and those both struck Hawaii. We've been incredibly fortunate. And look, and we've all been around now. I mean, how many tsunamis have we had? The last one that was tragic was before we were all born, in Hilo, and that was again through a series of unfortunate mishaps more than anything else. But now with the early warning systems and the technology, but we've been as lucky as heck that we haven't had a major natural disaster. We are very, very fortunate, and glory be to God on that one. So cool. All right. All right. So gang, so we're going to be moving into the next phase of our show here. If you have any questions, so we're still got to ask us anything. There's anything you'd like to know, real estate, Hawaii, the tsunami, weather, what it's like, anything you want, go ahead and ask. But we are going to move on with our friends. I think it's time. Let's talk about, we got some diamonds and deals here. Actually, I need to refresh my screen. So I'll save you all the agony of doing the refresh while I do this. Because the well-prepared tsunami person took a little bit extra to get their slides done this morning. All right, so let's rock and roll. We've got diamonds and deals over here. These are some properties that our friends have prepared that they'd like to show us and highlight. And so let's go with this one on Maui. Oh, this is beautiful. Heidi, what are we looking at here, Heidi?
So this is a new property I just listed at the Montage at Capalua Bay. So it's a resort property. This is one of the direct oceanfront units, and it's also very special because it looks to Kapalua Bay. In the bottom right-hand corner, you can see that's the view sitting on the lanai, like looking out to the beach. You're just really close to this great beach for swimming with turtles, snorkeling, paddleboarding. The residence is 3 bedrooms, 3 baths, plus a den. And it does allow short-term rentals. It's in a hotel zone property, so you can put it in a rental program and rent it nightly when you're not using it. And it's listed at $6,995.
Heidi, this is like obviously a absolutely stunning property. I'm curious of a couple things. First of all, the first thing that came to my mind when you were talking about this was like, Heidi, you've got a really, really, really cool job. The fact that this is your listing, and you win here, you hung out at this place, you helped them prepare it or whatever, and you kind of, had the chance to kind of spend time in such a stunning property. How is that, Heidi? What's that like? Curious.
I feel very lucky to be able to go and spend time at some of the most beautiful places on Maui. And I live close to Kapalua, and I do a lot of hiking in Kapalua, so I know all the beaches, hiking trails. I mean, the area is fantastic. And then the Montage Resort also, it's a whole lifestyle. Like, they have a full service spa and fitness center. There's dining, concierge services. This is total luxury living on Maui. This is the nicest resort property on Maui, in my opinion. Definitely on the west side. And this is a whole ownership unit, so you can actually live here. You can use it as a vacation property, or you can live here. It does have 2 garage spaces. Wow. And yeah, it's just absolutely stunning. And this orientation as well has sunset views all year. So there's lots of different locations within the resort not all the locations you're going to see the sunset. So here you're close to the beach and you can see the sunset. You can sit on your lanai and watch whales in the winter. I mean, somebody's going to buy this because of the memories they're going to make with family and friends and hosting people here. As you can see, there's a big center island. There's a dining room. There's a big table on the lanai. There's a huge L-shaped sofa. I mean, this would be great for parties, hosting family. It's like definitely set up for entertaining, but also it's a little over 2,900 square feet. So it feels very spacious, but it's not like an overwhelming amount of space. So it's just like perfect
cool.
beachfront kind of retreat space.
That is awesome. Okay, so my follow-on question is, do you have any idea what this would rent for on Airbnb? Like what would be the per day? What do you know, you have any sense of what this thing could go for on Airbnb?
Well, you can't rent it on Airbnb. So there's 3 approved rental programs for the Montage, because I mean, Montage is a brand.
Right.
It's a 5-star resort. So they take
Right.
the service and quality super seriously. So
Sure.
you can work with one of 3 different rental programs. And I mean, what they charge it's significant. I mean, if you're interested, contact me directly.
Okay.
You know, it's going to depend on time of year, but as you can imagine, I mean, this is quite a premium rental.
Definitely. Cool. Awesome. Thank you, Heidi. Thanks for giving us a glimpse. Thanks for giving us a glimpse into a world that I can only visit at best, or rent a night on at best. But it is so cool. And I'm just kind of thinking about how cool it's got to be for you to, here's a woman from Chicago, from Illinois, from the farmland, moves to Hawaii. It's like a dream come true, right? Farmland in Illinois, small town, moves to Hawaii. And, next thing you know, she's selling, $7 million properties. That's totally cool. Totally cool. Totally cool. All right. What do we got next here? Who's got the green sands new build? That's got to be you, Dylan.
Yeah, I'm on the other end of the spectrum. This is as least fabulous as you can possibly get, but I wanted to, I love to highlight affordability and deals, and this is one of those. Because I think dreams are on both ends of the spectrum, right? You can dream of the oceanfront resort property, and that's definitely something you want to aspire to. But you can also get a brand new house in the south part of the island for 490 grand. So and you can look at this. I mean, great finishings. I mean, granite countertops. It feels like a brand new build anywhere else in America. But this is in Aloha, so it's on the southern part of the island, very rural. You are an hour and a half away from Costco and the airport, so that's something to take into consideration. But yeah, if you're looking for country living, and you can kind of see there's very low density from that aerial photo. This is an absolutely great opportunity, but very, very affordable, and brand new. You can get a brand new house nobody's ever lived in before. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,200 square feet. Great, lots of space to put a lawn in or do landscaping and plant trees. I mean, nice carport, everything that you need. So under 500 grand.
Well, look, I'll tell you, for what it is, I'll tell you something. I mean, when you drive around the Big Island, you have like any place else on the Big Island, maybe there's more. So there's a huge range of home types, right? You got like, some you have like, kind of almost looks like a grass shack kind of on a lot, and etc. And when you come across something like this in a rural area, right? This might look great in an urban area, but in a rural area where you have a huge variety, this is a really nice property. It's brand new, as you said, right? Brand
spanking new. Yeah.
On the aerial, that road that looks like a dirt road, but I can't tell. Is that a paved road or a dirt road?
No, they're more like gravel roads. Yeah.
Gravel. Okay, gravel.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Cool. And what area of this, on what district on the Big Island is this in?
Na'alehu. Like the closest landmark would be the Punaluu Bakery. It's like the most southern. It's a very famous. They make the long loaves of sweetbread, and they're a famous bakery, a tourist attraction, and so it's in that area. That's probably the most commercial thing you're gonna find.
Man, this is like talk about like this a fabulous. Thank you, Dylan, for a fabulous contrast. Right, both beautiful properties, both amazing. One of them is like the epitome of incredible luxury in Hawaii, and the other one is like living in the farmland area in the south area of the Big Island. How cool is that? Thanks, Dylan. That's a great shot. All right, Ashley, what do we got here? Oh, this is kind of cool. Maybe a mix right in between. Ashley, what are we looking at here?
Dead smack in the middle of both of these. So
Right in the middle.
I think mine's maybe another diamond. So this is my girlfriend's listing. They're also with our same brokerage, Shireen Duncan and Jojo Laren. And this is on Enchanted Lake. So it's a lakefront, canal front property. And it's so cute inside. I didn't even have enough room to show you guys the photos, but you can see in that bottom right picture, like the barn door pantry that goes into this large corner nook and lots of character upgrades. The hammock between the two coconut trees in the front yard on the photo on the far right with this saltwater pool, a deck that goes over. You can paddleboard or canoe or kayak straight down to the beach from here as well. And it's a 3-2. The lot for Oahu is a good size. It's a little under 9,000 square feet. And for the price, it's fantastic. 2.295 million to be on a canal that accesses to the ocean, because you can get 2.5 million on a canal further from the ocean if you just added in an extra bedroom, an ohana or something. So add an ohana unit above that garage and you're looking at having a $3 million property in the future.
Man, that is that house looks completely dialed in. Like it looks like that is a house that's been lived in, by a family, and they tweaked it. They got the lawn chairs by the a pier that they put by the canal, right? That's the canal over there, right? That's the canal where you jump in the canal and that goes to the ocean, right?
Yeah, you probably shouldn't jump in it, but yeah. To swim.
No, jump in it like with your stand-up paddleboard, jump in it, not like jumping in
Yeah.
swim in it.
It's
God,
in Enchanted Lake. So the actual canal, it's right after where the lake opens up, and then it starts to narrow into the canal that goes out to the ocean. So you literally can just go left into the lake if you want to do some fishing, and then you can go right to go to the ocean. And you can go park your kayak or your paddleboards down at Buzz's and have dinner and watch the sunset, or join the paddle club and go down to your sport from your backyard. In fact, as I was looking at this, I was like, man, my house is like further up the canal, and if I can just get rid of the idea of having a extra couple bedrooms, I want this one. This location is so good and ideal. I can't believe it's still on market. It is still available, and I don't know why. It's a really
again, it's totally to me it looks like it's been dialed in, right? The family that lived there before, they set the deck up. You got the saltwater pool too, right? You got the saltwater pool, and you got that beautiful, like, I'm looking at the upper right hand corner, like this complete patio, covered lanai, big huge covered lanai. It's designed for pool parties, right? And you got the big kitchen there. It's like, man, what a cool spot.
And a floating dock. You can't install docks anymore. So they did a lot of this legwork. If this was in a different market for under 2.3 million right now on a waterfront in Kailua, which is a leading market for Oahu, as one of the most stable markets that we have on this island, and an indicator of what the market shifts look like. You focus on certain ones, and Kailua is one of them. And if this is a different market of mine, or different market, my opinion of this is it would have gone hundreds of thousands above asking price. And we're not talking a COVID boom, just a regular market. And it would have gone within the first week. So that's an indication of what our market's doing right now. You can find fantastic properties, not be in bidding wars, and get something at a reasonable price, like a market price, like maybe even arguably below. This is, it's just a good market for everyone, or for buyers right now.
That's amazing. Hey, we got a couple of comments here I want to follow up on Dylan's property. Dylan, Hands Own Seeds says, do you think they'll ever build a Costco on the Hilo side of the Big Island?
No.
And that's because
there's
not enough population there. There's plenty. Hilo side, right? There's plenty of people there, you would think.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we have the population density for it. I know the Kona Costco is very is one of the most profitable in the country, and you basically cut that in half, right? If you did that, if you built a second store on the Hilo side, and with the Saddle Road, I don't know if it prevents people from actually coming, right? I mean, you can get to Costco from downtown Hilo in like an hour and a half. So, I mean, a lot of times it's a
Okay, that's
normal
not
thing
that
that
bad.
folks from the east side do
Okay,
is they'll just drive over. And if you think about,
go drive
hey, if
over.
you're in Kapolei or whatever, I mean, on the North Shore on
Yeah.
Oahu, it's going to take you an hour to get to a Costco too, and people do it, right? So, and same thing. I mean, Maui's only got one, and there's plenty of people that have to drive an hour plus to get to it. So, yeah, I don't know if the population makes sense.
That's interesting. Well, there you go. Thanks for that. And let's see, Heidi, for you, let me bring your property up. So we had Empty Nesters here is giving us a thing, and it says, let me see if I can get this the better way here. Okay, there we go. So Empty Nester says, hey, a good friend of mine vacationed at the Montage with her husband, child, and her in-laws for 2 weeks. Woo! Gifted by the in-laws. That's a gift. That is a gift. They obviously loved it and utilized all amenity services offered. There you go. Well, empty nesters, tell your friends they could buy that property, that could buy that property, so they can kind of stay there forever. Thanks for that comment. That is stunning stuff. Stunning stuff. All right. Okay. I think great overview. Great properties. A lot of fun. Good stuff. All right. So look, we're going to move on to we're going to close up. We're going to start to close the show up. We've got our closing thoughts. If you, this is a kind of a time where we bring up some motivational things that kind of keep us going, thoughts to think of. If you've got some, please pop it in the comments. I'd love to have it. But with that, let's move on to Heidi's. Heidi's, what's yours and how is it significant to you?
You can't calm the storm, so stop trying. But you can calm yourself. Sorry, there's a typo.
You can calm yourself. It's okay.
Calm yourself. Yeah. Remember, storms always pass. So this is just thinking about the tsunami, and no matter what's happening, staying calm. And I try to stay away from chaos in general in life. So you can always control, what you do. You can't control outside factors.
Well said. You cannot actually. We have no control over anything. It's all an illusion. But we do have control over ourselves. That is the one thing we do have control over. This is like Ashley's song. You can't. This is like an Ashley kind of a thing here. Calm. Stop trying. Make the refried beans and leave the groceries in the bag. Thank you, Ashley.
I don't know. Heidi, though, has a calm energy and a calm voice.
Oh, totally.
I'm on the opposite
Totally.
Well, I mean, that's why I went to the gas station and everybody was going crazy. I'm just like, I'm getting out of here.
Exactly.
I'm just calm, Heidi. Because I mean, you're so right. Even if you didn't have a car, you can easily just walk up the mountain.
Walk up the mountain, man. Just walk. Exactly. Yeah. I was just thinking, doomsday. Oh, what if the cars get inundated? I still want to have my, after the disaster, I still want to be able to drive my car. That's the only reason why I wanted to get the cars out of the way. Yes. Me trying to plan out everything. All right, Ashley, what's yours?
Imagine the resale of your car value if you were one of the few that.
There you go.
You only live once, but if you do it right, once is enough. I don't know whose quote that was, but I really enjoyed it. And I live by mantras and quotes, and this is one of the ones I like to keep around the house. It just means you just live it up. Nothing is too important to not enjoy the journey. Yeah, man. I've had a couple of life-changing experiences myself over the past year. I've gone through heart attack, thankfully successful,ly, and those things that really helps you realize, boy, you better make it count. You better make it count. You better make it count. So that well said, Ashley. Thank you. Dylan, what's yours?
Yeah, I think along the theme that you were just talking about, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. And this is Leonardo da Vinci, who was a very sophisticated and probably complicated person. But I just think about it like related to the tsunami. Like, you can have all the technology in the world, all the warnings, and all the preparation, but really it's as simple as walk 4,000 feet away from the shoreline and you're good to go. So, sometimes the most sophisticated response is a simple one.
Just walk up the damn hill, man.
I like that. I'm writing that one down.
Walk up the damn hill. Well, and you know, and on that note, though, you know, simplicity. It really takes a lot of sophistication to communicate simply, right? You know, there's that one joke attributed to Mark Twain, which is, you know, I didn't have enough time to write a short letter, so I wrote a long one, right? Meaning that it takes a lot more effort and a lot more time to bring something to simplicity. It takes a lot more time to write a short note than it is just to kind of blab on and on and on and write a long one. Mathematicians, this is across the board. You know, the greatest, you know, mathematicians say, you know, they're saying is, you know, a great mathematical formula is one that will fit on your T-shirt. You know, E equals MC squared, right? If it fits on your, the simplicity of fitting on your T-shirt, those are the genius mathematical formulas. You know, the ones that take up the entire blackboard, not good. Fits on the T-shirt, that's the mark of genius. So it's a great,
if I was a mathematician, I need an XXXXL shirt.
No, it's a great philosophy for business and in life too. Like there's a great book called 10x is easier than 2x, and the point to it is that if you want to double your business, there's probably 50 things you could do, right? All these different things you could try and work on and implement. But if you wanted to 10x your business, there's probably only three or four things, maybe two things that you can focus on and you can do. And then I think about that in life too, is if you want to get in a little bit of better shape, you could probably do 50 different types of workouts. But if you want to lose 100 pounds, like there's really only a couple of things you can focus on to make that happen. So simplicity is usually the most effective.
Excellent point. Excellent point. You know, I'll tell you something. Simplicity was a big factor back in the 90s and the early 2000s. I was a household name. It was Peter K with Your Computer Minute. I brought technology snippets into under a minute, and I gave an educational radio snippet. It was the most popular thing on radio for over 20 years. So
Your Computer Minute, I remember it.
You know, and all the old timers know it to this day. You know, it was a big thing, but it was about simplicity. It was about, you know, breaking down a technological thing. So well said. All right, cool. Thanks. All right, we're going to wrap it up with my Proverbs. He who walks with wise men will be wise, but the companion of fools will be destroyed. And you've heard this in all kinds of different ways, which is the people you hang out with makes the biggest difference, right? The other one of, you know, you become the average of the 5 people you spend your time with. Walk with wise men to be wise. Do not be the companion of fools. Pick your friends carefully. Hang out with the wise, drop the fools, and you'll be all the better as a result of it. So cool. All right. We are going to close this one up. We're going to see you in 2 weeks on the 15th. I am not going to be here. I'm going to be on. I'm doing an amazing cross country adventure to go from Reno, Nevada to Chicago, Illinois, which is going to be a lot of cross country. Is like the coolest thing, and one of the coolest things in the USA is to do a cross country. But I will be out. So Dylan will be hosting. We'll see you on the 15th. Let us say goodbye. Let's do it counterclockwise. Heidi, then Ashley, and then Dylan say goodbye.
Aloha, everybody. Happy Friday. Have a great weekend.
Aloha, everyone. And if you live here already, good luck with back to school this coming week.
Yes, I know lots of people looking forward to back to school. But aloha, everybody. Have a great weekend and go catch some waves. Waves are up this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a big south. It's a big south thanks to that hurricane. All right, folks, take care. Aloha. Have a great one. See you in 2 weeks. Aloha.